Today on Public Eye News, a DNR aerial survey shows that Michigan's elk herd is growing, and later Russian strikes hit western Ukraine.
Later, Brennan Ford will have your weather for the weekend, and Beck will have your sports update. Hello, I'm Susanna Gwynn.
And I'm Scott Minshall, and this is Public Eye News. A Michigan DNR survey has shown that the state's elk's population has grown 5% since 2019. A DNR representative says that the survey is great news for the state and is an indication that the elk herd remains healthy. The population growth is a result of the Michigan Elk Management Program, which was last updated in 2012. This year, that program is set to be updated and incorporated into action over the next decade. 2 men in Fraser Township have been rescued from the icy waters of Saginaw Bay for the second time this week. The men were rescued for the first time when a large crack in the ice forced them to leave behind equipment, including snowmobiles and a camper. Earlier today, the men tried to retrieve that equipment by using a small boat to reach the cracked section of the ice when it capsized and dumped them into the water. One of the men was able to call 911 and the Coast Guard was dispatched and retrieved the men after they spent just over an hour floating in the bay. Both men were transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
And in Minneapolis, a self-proclaimed member of an anti-government extremist group is accused of taking advantage of the unrest after the killing of George Floyd to raise money for the movement. He was sentenced on Thursday to 3 years in federal prison. Michael Solomon, a 31-year-old man of New Brighton, Minnesota, disclosed to selling firearms components and silencers to FBI informants he believed were members of the Hamas terror group. Solomon is one of several men charged to be identified as the members of the Boogaloo movement. Although federal prosecutors recommended a 20-year sentence for Solomon, the sentence was revised down to 10 years due to his cooperation with authorities. With his help, law enforcement was able to shut down an operation in West Virginia, which sold devices to convert semi-automatic firearms into illegal, fully automatic firearms. And continuing in Wisconsin, a Waukesha judge set a trial date for a man accused of killing 6 people and injuring dozens of others by plowing his SUV into a Christmas parade in suburban Milwaukee last year. Darrell Brooks Jr. pleaded not guilty to more than 70 charges, including 6 homicide counts in connection with the incident that occurred last November. Waukesha County Circuit Judge Jennifer Darrow has scheduled Brooks' trial to run October 3rd through October 28th. Darrow has also been ordered that surveys be mailed to prospective jurors to gauge whether an impartial jury can be selected in Waukesha, or if jurors will need to be pulled from surrounding counties in order to give Brooks a fair trial, given all of the negative media surrounding the case. And the Budweiser Clydesdales are the main attraction for this year's St. Patrick's Day Parade in downtown Roanoke. There's a lot of work that goes into getting these horses ready for the show. Nessie Payne has more.
The Budweiser Clydesdales. Their large stature, muscular bodies, pristine looks, and gentle nature have made them world famous. They're showstoppers, all right. It takes a lot of work to get these horses ready for events. You have the prep time, hitching time, and unhitching time.
Every horse, once a week, it's a full body bath. So that's part of our prep time. They also get full haircuts. Then any day that we do a show, the horses get fully groomed, and then we always wash the hairs, the long white hairs on their legs. So we need those to be pristine and clean.
While the horses are enjoying their spa day, the harness is getting cleaned up.
We always clean and shine the brass on the harness every day before we do a show. Usually we have 2 people in the harness truck cleaning harness. They have usually about 4 hours to clean the harness before showtime. There is 2 individuals right now, they're doing 8 man-hours to clean and shine the brass on the harness.
Now that the horses and harness are good to go, it's time to hitch these boys. Depending on how many staff members are helping, they can do it in 30 to 45 minutes.
That's the process of from the horses getting the full gear on, from the manes and tails being braided, getting harness on and getting connected to the wagon, running lines, Lines are what drives the horses, the directions where we go.
There's a specific order in which the horses are hitched. The strongest and biggest horses are in the back. They're pulling the majority of the 8,000-pound wagon, controlling the speed and doing a lot of the braking. The front horses are the smallest, and they're the most agile and high-stepping. Each horse weighs about 2,000 pounds. Clydesdales can pull twice their body weight, so it only takes 2 of these boys to get the job done. But it looks more impressive with 8. The driver has to have a lot of arm strength. The tension of the horses pulling the wagon makes the lines in the driver's hands 75 pounds.
He's driving every single individual horse, so he has to adjust his lines individually to making sure every single horse is doing what they're supposed to do on the hitch.
After the show is over, it takes about 30 minutes for the crew to unhitch the horses, then lather, rinse, repeat. They'll do it all again at their next destination. Pretty impressive, right?
Stay with us, because after this short break, Brendan Ford will be back with your weather update, and we'll be back with some international news.
Our year was filled with life-changing expeditions. Here we go! All made possible by the very best film crews in the world.
To come across these places for the first time and capture everybody's emotions, I'm excited.
If stuff really does go wrong, filming always comes second. What's your rule?
The idea of doing something where nobody's ever set foot before is utterly thrilling.
It is a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Wednesday night at 10.
Hello and welcome back to Public Eye News. My name is Brendan Ford and I will have your weather update for today. If you take a look behind me at the NMU campus, you can see it is very cloudy outside and there is still a lot of snow on the ground. Also, it is very cold, so please bundle up on those walks out there. Looking at our current conditions here in Marquette, we can see it is a temperature of 22 degrees, winds heading out of the west-northwest at 17 miles per hour, with a barometric pressure of 29.86 and rising. Now, looking at our current conditions all across the UP, we can see on the east side of the Upper Peninsula it is snowy and is 28 degrees over in Sault Ste. Marie and 26 degrees in Manistee. All across the rest of the UP, we can see completely cloudy skies with 24 degrees over in Escanaba, 19 degrees over in Menominee, 19 degrees in Iron Mountain, 10 degrees in Ironwood, 13 degrees in Houghton, and 22 degrees up here in beautiful Marquette. Let's go ahead and get into your future weather. Looking at tonight, we can see it will be cloudy with a low of 14 degrees, winds heading out of the west-northwest at 20 miles per hour. And tomorrow, we can expect it to be cloudy again with a high of 17 degrees and winds heading out of the northwest at 15 miles per hour. Now let's go ahead and get into that future weather. There it is. Just a reminder that this weekend, we will have to set our clocks ahead 1 hour. Yes, we are all not looking forward to it. And looking at Sunday, we will have a high of 35 degrees, a low of 20 degrees, and it will be cloudy. On Monday, we can expect some snow with a high of 31 degrees and a low of 16 degrees. And on Tuesday, it will finally start warming up just a little bit though, with a high of 40 degrees and a low of 34 degrees, mostly cloudy. Let's go ahead and get into the international news with Scott Minshaw.
Well, thanks a lot, Brendan. And you said it, no one is looking forward to setting the clocks ahead. But as we look across the United States, cities everywhere are changing course on how they deal with homelessness. Cities such as Seattle, which have long been extremely tolerant of homeless tent cities and encampments, have changed direction and are starting to remove non-permanent structures all over the city. City officials are citing health and safety concerns as the reason for the sudden change, as they are seeing homeless people being injured and even dying at an alarming rate. Another reason cited by officials is the number of homeless people has skyrocketed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In world news, Russia is beginning to widen its offensive campaign into Ukraine as the United States increases its trade sanctions. For the first time, Russian forces have bombed the western side of Ukraine, targeting airfields in a major industrial city. Military analysts are divided on whether the shift in strategy by Russian forces signal an oncoming siege of Ukraine's capital in Kiev, or if it was an attempt to cripple Ukrainian defense capabilities. As the fight in Ukraine moves closer to the Polish border and towards NATO-allied countries, the United States and the rest of the Western powers continue to economically strangle the Kremlin by imposing even more sanctions against Russia, adding to the growing list of punishments against the country. Well, looking back into the United States news, it seems like the U.S. might have a spider problem, Susanna.
Absolutely. A species of spider originally from Southeast Asia is making its presence felt in Georgia, and experts say it won't be long before they're spotted up and down the East Coast. Michael George has more on the Juro spider.
They're big, about the size of the palm of your hand, and they've quickly spread in Georgia since they first arrived last year. Now, a new study from the University of Georgia predicts Juro spiders are about to spin their populations even further.
No predators. It doesn't have anything that's controlling its population size in the new habitat, but it has perfect conditions to spread.
Originally from Southeast Asia, researchers say the eight-legged creatures are unusual because they're able to survive in colder climates.
We exposed them to a brief period of cold, only for a couple of minutes at below freezing temperatures. And most of the Juros did just fine.
But while they may look scary to some, scientists say they're highly unlikely to bite.
Its fangs are so small relative to most human skin that it probably will not be able to get its fangs into you even if it wanted to.
It's unclear the Juro spider's impact on the environment, but some researchers believe they're not harmful. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The Northern Michigan Wildcats have a huge sports weekend coming up. More on that and some other sports stories. Beck Brearley will be back right after this short break.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
Saturday night at 11.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Beck Burley and I'd like to talk to you about some sports we're going to be looking at this weekend. This weekend, the NMU Wildcats will go toe-to-toe with the Minnesota State Mankato Mavericks. The puck drops tonight at 7:05 p.m. with the match televised through Comcast. The Wildcats beat the Mavericks in one of their 4 meetings this season, with the Mavericks being ranked at the top of the team in the nation. The NMU power play unit scores 17% of the time, which is the 4th best rate in the CCHA, averaging 2 goals per game and 2.3 shots on goal per game. The Wildcats will learn on stars A.G. Vanderbeck and Hank Krohn at forward, with Ben Newhouse on the blue line and Charlie Glockner in goal. The Cats won the playoff match last year, but that was with Rick DiMatteo in net. Major League Baseball and the MLB Players Association agreed to a new labor deal on Thursday, ending a 99-day lockdown and ensuring a full 162-game season. The collective agreement will allow players to report to spring training as early as Friday, with a potential opening day set for the 7th of April. The deal is expected to increase minimum salaries for players, a new pre-arbitration bonus pool, and raise the competitive tax over the next few years. Martinelli was named in the new World Cup squad for the first time, called for the first time on Friday for the last 2 World Cup qualifying matches at the end of the month. The Brazilian Soccer Confederation also stated on Friday that the team will play 5 friendlies ahead of the World Cup against unnamed opposition. The same cannot be said for Gabriel Jesus or fellow striker Roberto Firmino of Liverpool, with the latter being at risk of not making finals in Qatar in November.
Well, with baseball back at work, I have a way for NMU students to get back at work as well. Calling all students, the NMU Career and Summer Employment Job Fair takes place next Tuesday, March 15th. The fair from 1 to 4 p.m. will take place at the Northern Center in the ballrooms and will host almost 100 companies and is a great opportunity to discuss full-time, part-time, summer jobs, and internships. All students who register with Handshake will be placed in a drawing to win one of 10 $25 gift cards. There will also be an opportunity to get professional headshots taken and get up to 10 copies of your resume printed for free. Bring your student ID and dress for success in this great networking opportunity. I'll tell you what, I will definitely be attending. I think it is a great idea to network, and it's just, I think, a wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely, right? And seeing these new opportunities spanning along, it's fantastic, right?
All right, from everyone here at Penn, I'm Susanna Gwynn, Breck Beerley, Scott Minshaw, and Brennan Ford. We thank you for watching, and we'll hope you'll tune in again tomorrow for another edition of Public Eye News.
The preceding program was produced by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television, in studios located in Elizabeth and Edgar Hardin Hall.